macro feel as opposed to a turn-by-turn based rule set, which is I think is nice. Of course, I've played in a few Power by the Apocalypse games, and I've seen with good seasoned GMs running, masks and urban shadows and things like that, how easily the system does work, depending on the dice, of course.
Yeah, sure.
There's nothing worse than rolling just okay enough to say, okay, on that list, pick 2 out of 3 things that you don't want to happen to you.
Right.
It can be kind of difficult to decide what is the thing that you don't want happening to your character.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how we get on. I mean, it might take me a little while to get my head around it. Like you say, it's very different. I'm familiar with. Obviously, I've listened to the the Monster of the Week stuff that Taz did. And I've been trying to put together a game, Monster of the Week game, but because of COVID, that hasn't really come off, I'm afraid.
Oh, I hear you there.
I think, yeah, I bet that's scuppered your efforts as well, has it?
Pretty much, I used to go to my local brick and mortar game store and had 5 games a week roughly going. And after COVID, it kind of dried up, and then finally I slowly pulled players that were not online gamers into gaming online, and that became a fun adventure to get them all on to Roll20 to actually start playing different games.
Right, yeah.
So now I've got 4 of my 5 game groups playing online now.
Wow, where do you get the time, dude?
I try to make sure every game is something different, and I do everything bi-weekly, which buys time to run more games.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
And make sure that every group has a completely different theme set, so in your head you can keep them separate. And the nice thing is, if you stream or podcast, you can listen to the last episode before you run the next episode.
Cunning. Very good. Very good.
That's one of those quick cheats. Is like, while at work, before game day, start playing the episode again so I can remember where the hell I was. Write down my quick notes. It's like, oh yeah, I was going to do this thing. I was going to do that thing. They were going to do this thing.
Yeah. Previously on my own role-playing game. Yeah.
Previously at the tabletop.
So who else is on? So I'm Aaron. I'm in England. Who is Ghost Tusk? Who's that?
Yeah, this is Neil.
Yep.
I'm
Hello, Neil.
in Vancouver, Washington.
Wow. We are from all over, aren't we?
Yep. Like me, he is in the same time zone at least this time of year. Later on in the year, we'll be an hour apart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's true.
And are we expecting somebody else, or is it 2 other people?
We were expecting 2 other people, but I have not seen that they've been on Facebook.
Okay.
I mean, if worse comes to worse, we can go ahead and design our city and our characters, and then we can present them with what we've got, and they can make their characters and jump on in.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I saw somebody else on the group had said, "Oh, well, I've got a great idea for a character or whatever," which looks great. You were talking about kind of hero makers, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
I think on there, and I've got an idea, for something, but it really depends on like you say, the flavour of the place and what everybody else is kind of into, really.
Let me shoot some quick messages out.
So what is this great idea of yours?
I noticed with this game, it's all based on tropes, isn't it? It's all tropes.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as you want to be original, you really can't. It's just like the antithesis of original thought, isn't it? So kind of jazz trumpeter who summons the dead.
Ooh.
And kind of investigates their mysteries. So a bit kind of Sixth Sense,
Mm-hmm.
Kind of solving their stories so that they can pass on to heaven, if you like. So summons ghosts and investigates their mystery. And the kind of one of the key parts of that is the relic kind of mythos, which is the last trumpet, which is the kind of thing that as Raphael, the angel, plays at the end of days to raise the dead, raise the faithful.
Nice.
So that's the thing. Yeah, that was my idea, and kind of, we can expand on it and work around it.
And one can always use the power of jazz.
Oh, mate, I tell you, last weekend when I was kind of putting together, answering all those questions for the powers or whatever, I just found some really moody trumpet jazz, and I've even kind of, tagged who it was and stuff just to get me in the mindset. Yeah.
Nice.
That's actually pretty cool.
Good. Right. Well, I'm glad, because I kept thinking about it. I thought, well, no, you've seen that in this movie and this movie, and of course, but then when you read all the characters that are generated for this, they're kind of, they are Preacher, or they are, Superman, or they are whatever, Iron Fist or something, aren't they? They're all these things that already exist, which is great, lovely.
Exactly. Yeah. It's basically the tropes personified and proving the reason why they exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like last time when we were hanging out and chatting, I was talking about some of the characters that I made for my wife's group. One was a ex-cop. She's that disgraced, Dirty Harry style cop, who is also the rift of Athena.
Oh, cool.
And of course, she's disgraced because, well, she wasn't one of the guys, So they basically got her bumped out, under false pretenses.
Yeah.
Or
that's awesome.
So that way you've got the trope of the angry cop who's, one of her, items was she's got police training, so there's the physical training for her logos, because when you make your characters, you've got that great balance of here is the magic legend that you're embodying and the part of the story that you're telling. And then there's who you are during the day,
Yeah.
So you can be that, jazz musician who, by the way, is also the, summoner of the dead who can, say, how did you die? You need closure.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, what can I do to kind of bring you closer? Yeah, that's cool. And then obviously that will go into mystery and adventure, I'd assume, and, give loads and loads of plot hooks for everyone.
Oh,
that
heck
could
yeah.
be...
The fact that I can just drop a rando ghost in front of you and there's your plot hook, That's a great tool.
Totally. Cool. Good. I'm glad. So I've got up in front of me, I've got Roll20.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether we need that for today.
Yeah, because it's the character sheet. So let me give you your character. So in Roll20, the first time you log in, is basically I need you to log in so that way I can give you control of your character sheet. So ignore the name. You can totally change the name. You now have control of the one that's got your name there. And if you want to change the name, you just click the edit button after it pops up.
Oh, okay. Will it pop up in the feed, will it?
It actually, if you go in, so you're looking at Roll20 with the chat, you see the Roll20 with the chat tips, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, I do. Yes, sorry.
Okay. So on the very top left-hand side where you see the little comic book bubble symbol and the little newspaper symbol, click on the newspaper symbol. That'll bring up character sheets.
Yeah.
And you're going to see a lot of stuff there because I used the starter set, so it basically shares everything, which is really cool because it's got all the rule sets and stuff there. So if you click on your character, it'll pop up. And if you click edit, you can change a picture on your character so everyone can see that picture for your character once you've decided what your look is like. And if you click on character sheet, it'll pop up pretty much the character sheet verbatim of what, the actual game's character sheets are. So when you pull up the character sheet, you'll see the first box is if you were to roll your dice. So basically it's got all your selections right there in the core moves and cinematic moves. If you click cinematic moves, it'll change it over to those moves. So you basically, there's a lot of clicky stuff there. So to the left of that is the power. So basically when you would be making your choices of what powers you're using for your roll, you can add your plus and minuses there and then click to roll it and it'll automatically add them to your dice pool.
Oh, okay, right. So the power, right. So you kind of scroll it up and down, and then, so your tags and your statuses will balance out your thing, and then
exactly.
fine. Okay.
Yeah. And then if you
Cool.
scroll down, you'll see you've got the crew theme and then a couple other abilities. On the theme title, if you pull your mouse over it, it'll pop up so you can read it and click on it. If you click the mask, you can turn a logos into a mythos.
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
Because, of course, when making a character, you decide if it's, are you 2 and 2, 2 logos, 2 mythos? Are you 3 mythos? So you depend on how much of your rift you're embodying at the moment.
That's right.
And then on the crew theme, we've got the spots where you can write what the identities and what the power tags are going to be for your crew. And then if you scroll a little further, you've got tracking tags. So if you take any statuses, you can use those to keep track of them.
Oh, this is down the bottom. Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see.
And you might see some stuff popping up and moving because I'm on your character sheet right now. So I can peek over you.
No problem. No problem. Yeah. Cool.
And it's really user friendly. It's really nice. I mean,
okay, that's really good. Yeah, I mean, because I'd started to kind of, I mean, I do a lot of stuff in OneNote, so I just kind of cobbled some stuff together in OneNote and then transferred it across to some of the PDF things you get, you know, when you do the downloads from City of Mist, and they're rubbish PDFs. They've got, you know, really limited on text and stuff like that. You know, that's fine. So I need to edit essentially. Is that where I go in to
that would
do
be
all the
the
bits?
very first thing you'd want to start doing is to hit the edit button, and then you can change your character's name to whatever you've got picked.
Oh, cool. Okay, great.
And it's also got a spot where you can put your bio, and since the group can see each other's main character page, basically it's just whatever you put in bio can be seen by everyone in the group.
Oh, that's cool. That is cool.
On the GM side, I totally have a secret GM only page where I can put notes on your character that you can't see.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a good way of keeping track of plot holes and plot lines and all those good stuff.
And the other thing is my...
And if it helps, I did leave the pre-gen characters up so you guys can look at them as examples.
Great. Thank you.
Because that way it's just, you know, hey, I totally want to steal that thing. You can totally just go in and copy paste.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And what are you thinking of doing, Neil?
I opted for the Jack of Fables.
Ah, yes, that's right. Cool.
Yeah. So I thought it would be interesting to say that my mythos of the Jack of Fables was misdiagnosed as ADHD, and my mortal self was on Ritalin to keep Jack at check. But under the circumstances, he doesn't have a degree. He works dead-end jobs. He can't afford his Ritalin anymore. And now Jack is starting to pop up again.
Oh, okay. Kind of losing your grip on it a bit.
Yeah. I mean, he's not insane or anything, but he now kind of is juggling 2 missions at this point.
And the fact that he's a man of many jacks.
Yeah. So I have Jack-o'-lantern, Jack and the Beanstalk, Jack Frost, Jack and the Candlestick. So cool. I'm calling upon a lot of variations of Jack. Have you ever read the comic book Fables by Vertigo?
No, I can't say I have.
Yeah, it's actually a fantastic series where all the fables live in a borough hidden within New York City. And they have their own stories and whatnot. And the story goes is that they were all forced to migrate to Fabletown because in the actual Fableland from the old world, there was a war they lost.
Okay.
But it kind of goes into detail about the war and the people. You name a fable, and somehow they're actually part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a good series. It starts with the big bad wolf as a cop,
Oh, really?
which puts you in a good place right there, you know.
Yeah.
And drop in a murdered body and go.
Brilliant.
And of course, they had a lot of offshoots of it too, which is really good.
How old is that?
Sorry, I got a reply on Facebook, but it was not. It was not the two people I was hoping it was.
Oh.
So yeah, it looks like it's pretty much just going to be the three of us today, which we'll make the choices, and well, they'll just have to live with them.
Yeah, fine, no problem.
Okay.
So as you guys are starting to work, I think the most important question is, of course, going to be the what kind of city and what kind of crew theme that you guys are wanting to go for. So which did you want to decide on first? Because both are really important, and they kind of back and forth on each other.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, are they're actually set kind of set crew titles or themes?
Mm-hmm. If you look in the character section where it's got your guys' characters, there's team themes. If you click it, it'll pop up for you and show you the pros, which are basically your professionals at what you do. The Masked Vigilante Investigations, which is your pretty much Netflix Marvel series. The Dabblers in the Mist, which is a very meta supernatural angle as opposed to superhero angle. And then the Conspiracy Busters, because everyone loves paranoia.
I don't know really. I mean, what do you fancy, Neil?
Well, I haven't come across that many podcasts on this game. But reading through the book, they seem to be more focused on vigilante investigations. In all honesty, I haven't put much thought into this particular aspect of the game.
It's definitely a tough one.
Because
Like
I
I've
mean, these are the crew themes, but it's like anything could be a crew theme.
a lot of times, like I explain to folks, when you're picking your team theme, it's basically what do you want the investigations to focus on? Because it could totally be, if you pick the pros, it could be that you're a heist group. So instead of investigations, it's heists. So it could totally be like Leverage, where you're trying to use hook and crook to accomplish a goal, as opposed to investigating crimes. You're solving, a problem with thievery. So like the pros is good for operatives, if you want to be, operators or heists, thief based. If you want to be crime and investigation, it's the Masked Vigilantes, because that's totally like the Green Hornet, your classic superheroes that don't have to wear masks, but that's totally an option if you want to use the masks. Then Dabblers in the Mist is if you want to deal with the occult stuff. So it's going to be that Constantine feel, where you're dealing with, something mysterious happened, and that's what you're quote unquote investigating. And then the Conspiracy Busters is, basically conspiracy based. So lots and lots of those conspiracy boards with strings going back and forth. You're trying to unlock. So the overarching story arc will be based on, either for the pros, operations and heists, the Masked Vigilantes, crime and investigation. Dabblers in the Mist, it'll be the occult, and for Conspiracy Busters, it'll be conspiracies. So it basically just tells me what angle you guys want to go as a group. But they can totally mix and match too.
I mean, I guess it's tough. It might be tough to say without the other guys being here. About what, what presumably some characters would lend themselves to, you know, one particular crew theme or another, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could always prank them and say we're playing The Office.
Now, is that the English Office or the American Office?
I prefer the English Office.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what kind of campaign is it? It's a weekly comedy. No, well, okay. So, did you have a preference?
Not
What sort
especially,
of games do you like to play? Is my guess. I guess my question is.
but I don't honestly. I don't mind. I mean, I think when you come into things like professionals, that tells me that perhaps, you know, characters with perhaps really disparate backgrounds might not fit into that particularly well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know whether something a bit more fluid where you are going to kind of have the waifs and strays, or you know the slightly odd jazz musicians or whatever might be more towards the kind of the supernatural kind of side of things. You know, I don't know, just a thought really.
Yeah, that's one thing I do like about the dabblers and the masked vigilantes is check out their weakness tags, because that'll come into play. So the weakness tag and power tags is something that you guys also get access to. So like masked vigilantes is stepping on each other's toes because you're not the pros. You know, you're a bunch of folks thrown together into a situation. Whereas the dabblers in the mist is also an oops, I get into another world by accident.
Hey James.
Huh?
Do the theme? Is it possible for the theme crews to change as often as our mythos and logos on a personal level, or
Usually
is this
those are
static?
pretty static. I mean, the once you pick it, it sticks.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the few things that doesn't really change much. Is once your crew theme is set, it's pretty much locked in there. I mean, if you want, we can always go back to what the crew theme is and talk about the city, because that could always affect it too.
Yeah.
So here's another question. Are you looking at running like a multi-session story arc, or are you looking at like one story per session?
I was going to ask you guys on that one. What I usually plan when I do a City of Mist game is I plan to do a season. So, and I always, of course, like the Buffy approach where there's an arc, but there's also episode arcs. You know, so you have the case, but how does that case relate to the overall arc for the season? And usually what I try to do is I pick 8 or 9 cases and give you guys free form to pick which cases you want to be on. And basically by the 4th or 5th, I've figured out what the arc is. You know, who's the riff pulling the strings, and what is the story they're trying to tell.
Okay.
You know, it could totally be one of those things that by you guys solving these crimes, you know, it could be the rift is Odin, and his goal is to create heroes, and you got to create chaos for heroes to step up and do their job. I mean, as I've joked with many friends in many different game systems, Odin is the ultimate hero maker because he totally creates shit situations just so somebody will step up and do it. And if they die along the way, well, he still gets them in Valhalla. So it's a win-win. Or it could totally be that somebody's wanting to move in and they need you guys to slowly clear things out. And pretty much in City of Mist, one of the big things is you have the avatar that's pulling the strings, and then you've got minions that work for him in one way or another. Because you know we all know in those stories how someone's being manipulated to work with somebody and doesn't even know it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good villains that don't even know why they're doing what they're doing, but they're doing it because it's fun. I mean, that's one thing with City of Mist and a lot of the Powered by the Apocalypse is I've truly learned, don't, unlike like Palladium or D&D or a lot of the other RPGs out there, don't come to the table with something preset, because your players may pick something completely opposite it, and then you're unintentionally railroading at times to make them fit into the pegs you pre-planned.
Okay. Yeah.
I totally get that. I ran a Star Wars game, and my players decided, it was like April 1st, and I totally forgot about it. But they upsold me on the idea of breaking into an Imperial armory to steal weapons for the Alliance. But when they got to the Imperial outpost, they got in line, asked for registration papers, filled out all the documentation, provided the necessary credentials, and next thing I know, they have enlisted themselves into the Imperial Academy. And then on the day that they were supposed to take their oath and join the Empire, they didn't show up. So they became draft dodgers.
And then you can do the montage. Took me by
surprise. Worst part was, one of them was a Jedi. And it's like, where could I hide? Let's hide within the Empire.
Hide in plain sight. Because thankfully, the Empire never figured out to test for metachlorians.
Yep.
Seriously, metachlorians, ridiculous thing. It's hateful. It's hateful. You're starting to. Oh dear. It's close to the feeling I get when someone says Prometheus. You know what I mean? Seriously, starting to grip my shit. Anyway.
I totally feel you there, man. Trust me. The whole, they should have just had Qui-Gon wave his hand over the kid and said, "The Force is strong with this one."
Damn right, man. Damn right. Yeah.
None of this illegal blood test without the parents' consent.
Yeah, the parents' consent. Oh, we're slaves. Yeah, good point. Anyway.
Who are you kidding? He just cheated dice and cheated her out of her child anyway.
So is it possible to take up a crew theme and kind of start with the basics and organically grow from there?
Sure, we can go that direction.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, technically in the book, you guys can come up with your own theme as it is, but they give just the generic ones to give you some structure and idea to start with.
Right.
So in regards to our City of Mist, are we looking for true noir, classic noir, shady, cloudy, rainy, it's got that nice 20s-ish feel, but we can still have cell phones if we want? Do we want to go with neo-noir, which is basically modern, but it's got that feel, everything is, smooth jazz playing in the dark, foggy streets, you got that feel of just the, it's totally a gumshoe detective novel, but modern. The dreary present, which is basically like if you look in the Netflix MU, the Marvel Universe, that's pretty much the dreary present with some weird mist stuff that just happens to happen. Then generic comic book present, that would be mainly if you really want to be super comic booky. They give you that freedom so that way you can choose to go super gonzo comic book as opposed to noir detective. And then existing city trapped in the mist, which is basically we Google a city and we basically say, okay, it's surrounded by the mist, nobody ever leaves, or they just walk into the mist and are never seen again. Which one of those do you guys think fits the best for the story that you're wanting to tell with your character?
I don't think like a known modern city would be, too much fun. I mean, certainly going with the theme that that I'm thinking about. You know, I think that kind of
defeats the
almost
purpose.
classic noir kind of stuff fits me quite well.
Me personally, the
sounds,
first two are my favorites.
Yeah.
Because I'm an old gumshoe novel fan, so.
Okay, that's cool.
If I can sway you, I'll throw that out there.
Yep. Yeah. Sound good. I'm having some issues with. So I've gone into the edit and I've done the bio, but then I can't seem to get to the. Every time I click on the character sheet part, the actual stats, if you like, it goes back to the bio, and I don't quite know how to edit the character sheet.
You may have to refresh your Roll20 page. Sometimes that'll happen.
Oh, really? Right.
Yeah,
okay.
if it's basically grayed out, not letting you click into it, definitely hit the refresh button.
Okay. Stand by.
Yeah, as the GM, a lot of times that'll happen too to me because there's like so many different things running, and if I've pulled up a character sheet more than once, all of a sudden it'll forget that I'm supposed to be doing that. It's like, oh yeah, you're supposed to be opening that, aren't you? So let me pop out my actual Dead Tree copy of the book.
Yeah, I've got mine next to me. I find that much more reliable for some reason.
I'm just a fan of the Dead Tree version. I've got the PDF up, but I've got the Dead Tree version too. So I'll go ahead and read off the True Noir is your story is film noir in its purest form. Gents in raincoats and fedoras and dames in glittery evening gowns foxtrot and exchange gunfire in a strictly black and white city. Art Deco is all the rage in the interior design. The police are corrupt. The city is forever in the clutches of organized crime. The technology is a true noir setting. Usually does not exceed that of the 1930s. So you don't see any computers or mobile phones. I mean, literally, it's like the old Batman, comics. Batman at its best as the detective. He just happened to be in a costume.
What's in neon noir? Because
So neo-noir is your story is a variation on film noir, still with a strong retro flavor harkening back to the 80s with bleached mullets and denim jackets or colorful suits with shoulder pads. Your crew is also too pretty to be anti-heroic, slick red cars with guttering doors leaving a cool phosphorus trail as they go by, and everything is lit up by the glow of neon. Confidential information is stored on tape cassettes, floppy disks, and phones have keypads. So it's got that whole old Miami Vice feel.
Yeah.
Which we can totally blend the two so it's less 80s and more, classy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good. I'm good with that second one. And what about you, Neil? What's on your mind?
Thinking maybe neon noir is more in line, because as much as I appreciate classic noir, I think it would be a little harder to role play, only because it's not it. I mean, I understand the technology level is limited and all, and I do like noir, like Basin City, Frank Miller's work.
Oh yeah, Sin City, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sin City. But I think that trying to get by without a cell phone.
Dude, how old are you?
I'm 47.
Oh, okay. All right. We're about the same age.
I've adapted with the technology, and I mean, professionally, I'm in the IT field.
Right.
And I the thing is that I'm realizing, okay, I based upon the way that I read up my character, I took a look at the history of drugs. Ritalin was not actually created until the 70s. but at the same time, I'm the kind of guy that will kneecap himself in order to give myself more of a challenge in role playing. So classic noir is also very appealing to me because it means that a lot of the stuff that I take for granted is not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I kind of have to work my brain to figure my way around those kinds of setbacks.
Okay, well, with that, I'll also throw out the dreary present, which is the story is noir-inspired detective stories set nowadays. All the changes in the world you know are included, including overcrowded cities, growing social alienation to the point of mass psychosis, unchecked consumerism. The ghost dimension of the internet is superimposed on all aspects of life, although it may not be the focus of your series. People live in an almost impenetrable bubble of distraction, giving the mist a whole new interpretation. So I'll throw that one out there too.
Yeah, well, yeah, throw that out. I'll throw it out to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm perfectly happy in either. I think if you need some kind of technology angle, Neil?
I'm not relying on it, or I'm kind of trying to go the low tech route.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm thinking that if we need to communicate with each other, finding a payphone and fishing out that dime to place that call could be a little more troublesome.
Neon Noir providing pagers.
Yeah.
Or those really big cell
but
phones.
I would say that, I mean, in the games that I run, what I usually do is I start with like one location, and my location will grow and expand as the plot takes me to different places, and I can introduce them as fresh new zones to the field to my players. But I totally understand we need to create a defined setting here.
I
think I'm going to
it is a
hamstring
deep
myself
question.
and say, let's go with classic noir.
Yeah, I mean, neo noir. Does that help you with some of the stuff you're thinking about, or the neon noir, or is it just too?
Because that brings you up to that whole anti-hero era of comic book style, where you've got the heroes wearing trench coats instead of costumes. So many issues in the 80s. So many issues.
Yeah, but I mean, even Marvel came out with their noir line, which had a bunch of great stories.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it changed a lot of their character aspects a lot. Yeah, that one definitely went back to the true noir feel. Wolverine using knives instead of actually having claws. Tony Stark as a gentleman adventurer going to, on safari.
Yeah. Those stories were actually really good stories. I enjoyed reading them.
Are you kidding? Charles Xavier with a bunch of sociopaths? Thinking that's the next evolution?
Did you have a preference?
James?
Me? Yeah. For me, the first two are my personal favorites. But that kind of leads into the whole, if you want to be, detective-y, that's where the true noir really kicks in, is if you want to go with, if you want to be the pros or the mass vigilantes, where it leads into that detective feel. That's where both of those kind of really shine, is in true noir. And then neo-noir is where it gets more of the dabblers, conspiracy busters, and mass vigilantes. Like neo-noir is great for conspiracy busters, if you want to go to that angle, because all the conspiracies of the 80s.
So what about you, Aaron? Did you have what was your preference again?
I think I'd say the neon noir. I think because it kind of probably plays a good line between modern stuff and kind of moody jazz infested streets.
Yeah.
Pulls it out to a little more
Actually,
modern feel.
yeah. Let's go with neo noir.
Let's go with that, man. Yeah,
Okay,
sounds good.
Yeah.
neo-noir it is. That's what I've got pasted in there.
Coolio. I am just so that it was still doing this thing, but where I was saying that it was not allow. I say not allowing me. That's not fair. Not getting me to edit the bit of the character sheet, but I've realised when I just click into the character, the individual, the mythos and the logos, I can write in. Will it then save those?
Everything should automatically save in real time. Just be careful if you delete anything, it's gone. Just like with the Roll20 character sheets for D&D, it doesn't have an undo button, unfortunately. So a lot of times what I do recommend to folks is if you, when you have your character finished, if you click edit, there's a duplicate button. And I can save a duplicate of your character sheet on my page and hide it from you so it doesn't get in your way. That way you've got that as a save point, basically, in case anything happens to your character sheet, which probably shouldn't happen, but just in case. Or if you want to export your character to another game lobby, you can do that too, which is nice.
Yeah, well, I think largely, apart from one or two things which I might need a bit of a hand with in terms of thinking about them, I think, I've had time to have a bit of a think about, the questions and the answers and all those things. There's just a few. Some of the things that confuse me a little bit are the mystery. So the mystery for your mythos, actually encapsulating that in just a pretty quick phrase or sentence or something is quite problematic. I don't know. How did you find that, Neil?
Well, what I did was I took a look at the player's guide, and right in part of the chapter regarding the different logos and mythos, they actually have a set of generic tag questions to help
And they really
help sort that all out.
They really do help.
Yeah. I mean,
okay, so for your character, which theme books do you think you would be relying on?
Right. Well, I'm taking I think divination and relic. So one of the things, the divination thing I'm putting in here is essentially the title is psychopomp, which is like somebody who shepherds the dead.
That's a good one.
And the concept is can see and speak with ghosts. So, but then the mystery, and I appreciate working through the mysteries here in divination in the book. It's asking says a question that your mythos wants to explore, investigate, discover the answer to. It could be related to your powers, your legend, or to your mundane life. Where can I find the Book of Shadows? Do the dead deserve another chance? How can I battle ignorance? Burning questions about something your divination can't pierce. Investigation of something only you are able to uncover. So I don't know, man.
Going through those examples, it identifies how each mythos has that burning question. Like Baron Samedi says, do the dead deserve another chance?
Mm-hmm.
What sort of question are you trying to answer? that I guess would be related. Now, these mysteries, are they necessarily tied to our mythos and logos?
Yeah, that's
The
the
mystery is
thing that's
basically the question that you're trying to find out about your mythos.
Right.
Because a lot of times when it comes to your mythos, you yourself don't know whose story you're embodying. You know, especially for poor Jack, because he's all over the place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like for expression, I titled my powers as faces of Jack, but my mystery is who am I? Where my mobility mythos is titled Wanderlust, but my mystery is where is Jill?
oh, that's
So
cool.
I'm seeking a missing person. I don't know who Jill is, but I don't know what my relationship with her is, but she's kind of a driving goal for my character.
See, in true noir, she would be that dame in the dark alley holding the smoking gun as you're clutching your chest, bleeding out.
Quite possibly.
You just spoiled it now.
In neo-noir, she happens to be that girl that bumps into you at the coffee shop, and the the barista says, "Coffee for Jill?" And you're just like, "What's your number?" And she runs off to work.
I mean, it could be something as weird as serendipity.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know. But I think that for you, Aaron.
Yeah.
Why don't you? I mean, I've essentially told the backstory of my character. He just got out of college. He's from a minority family, son of immigrants, and he's tied to the Jack of Fables, who has been chained in his psyche with Ritalin, but now that he's working, he's a temp worker, doesn't have stable insurance, doesn't have stable income. He no longer has access to that Ritalin, and now Jack is coming out and discovering a whole new world. And even though he doesn't really know who he is or where he is, the only thing that he knows is that he wants to find this person, Jill, whoever she may be, which is driving my main character into the adventures that he's getting into. But my question here is, what is your character's backstory? Maybe we can figure out your mystery from there.
Sure. I think he has essentially inherited two things from his mentor. So the kind of he's like a bit of a trumpet jazz prodigy and hung out in smoky nightclubs and stuff, and his mentor, I think, disappeared or died or something. I think that's one of the key things, and left him the club, which is one of the Logos tags I've got.
Nice.
And left him the trumpet. And so he's now the kind of next custodian of the last trumpet, if you like. And only when he started playing it did he, for instance, like a little boy came into the club and he kind of said, "Well, what are you doing here, kid? This isn't a place for kids," and realised he was actually dead. He was a ghost and nobody else could see him. Kind of helped his thing out. So that's yeah, the logos. The logos for that is a mission to help the rescued, and the routine is the Ebony Lounge, the club, and then kind of comes with its own problems. Kind of basic background that I thought about. I hadn't given too much thought about what happened to the mentor or something like that. So maybe, yeah, now we're talking about it. Talking about it with another real person. Maybe that's the line to go down for the mystery of the divination thing. Because I've pretty much got the mystery and because the logos, they're not called mysteries, are they? They're called.
Well, remember, each one of your mythos has a mystery, but then your logos has the
Identity, isn't it?
the identity that ties you together.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're the character Kato, it's the I love Kato more than anything else, because basically it's his love interest, But that's just because that's his day life. Basically, it's a nice little aspect, one sentence line to tie up the what does this mythos mean to me.
Sure.
I mean, you did mention with your character the choosing the worthy, who's worthy to pass on at one. Your mystery could always be, how do I know who's worthy? Something along those lines. Or why me?
Or why are there so many dead people still here?
Why are they just not going home? And I will say, my buddy David jumped in the lobby, by the way, so he's here. He wants to join in. If there's a space, he will take it.
Is David a fish?
David is the fish, yes.
Excellent. Nice. Classy.
He's probably muted right now.
Yeah, maybe.
Let me see if he's in the Discord server. Normally we do Skype in all the games that I play with him, so Discord's a new one for him. No, Fish is in there. We're talking about you, man. Or he might be running around the house looking for his book. But he will be chiming in a second.
Cool.
So we know we're going with neo noir, and the Psychopomp mystery is what you're looking for. Because think of it this way: is the mystery is what you're wanting to solve by the end of the season. So after like 5 or 6 cases. Because remember, you guys can totally evolve a mythos into a logos after you solve the mystery. Because that's kind of the goal, is to answer the question that the mythos is giving through you. Because you're just like fate's tool in this situation, and the story wants to come out and be told through your actions.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, we can hear you now.
Yep.
I was trying to talk to you, thinking we were on Skype like many of the other games. So I'm like, oh yeah, I got to push a button. I forgot.
Yep, on this one, the group vote was Discord over Skype. So we figured, okay, let's try Discord.
I was surprised to see you in Discord.
Usually I avoid it except for online gaming cons.
What? Discord?
Usually on Discord, I got too many, sound effects going off and stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's driving me nuts.
Fair enough.
And I'm old and set in my ways for Skype.
Oh, yeah. Okay. How do I, so in the, populating the mythos and the logos power tags, how do I add another one? Because there's only space for one.
Well, as you click the first one and you fill it in, once you hit the enter button, the next power tag will populate on the theme book.
And what's the checkbox for on the right of it?
So that's if you burn a tag. Because remember, in gameplay, you can opt to burn a tag to just, I do this thing. It's basically that guaranteed you roll a natural 20 and you accomplish what you want, but you're burning that power until it recharges. And it can be burned for many sessions until you actually give it some TLC during the wrap-up. Basically, it just says you spend downtime fixing your tag. I recenter myself. But sometimes it can be really handy to just burn a tag and make sure you don't need to roll no dice.
So, okay. what's the best thing to do then? Because obviously the power tags are in response to specific questions, which are numbered or lettered, aren't they? So am I best off putting the letter at the beginning of the power tag just
as a reminder? Yeah, I mean that's what a lot of folks do, is just put the letter and then answer the question, so that way, if you ever need to reference back, you know which question you went for.
I mean, I have got this, as I say, I've got it written in another document anyway, but yeah, I just wondered, I know we were talking about, because there's actually a check mark on the left and the right, isn't there? So there's the burn thing on the left, and then there's a check mark on the right.
Yeah, I believe that you can check it and it'll add to your power at the top.
Oh, I see. Right. Oh, that's a cool.
So if you use
cool.
the checkbox, the checkbox should add it up as a plus or a minus at the top.
Yes, it has. Yeah, I've done that.
That way you're not having to manually add your pluses and minuses, because you can just flip through your deck, check, and then hit the whatever power you're wanting to do, and it'll add it up for you.
Yeah, that's cool. And I assume that this game, with a very limited knowledge of it, that if we've essentially got to kind of what's the word? Kind of like negotiate whether that tag is appropriate for that thing you're trying to do. And I imagine that comes down to you and the other players deciding whether that's appropriate.
Usually it's throw out a good reason why your power's there and pretty much go for it, a type of thing. It's unless you're really pushing, it's like, I don't think your flaming fists is appropriate to talking your way out of a parking ticket.
Yeah, sure.
So it just comes down to... And then I'm going to ask you to describe how you're using it too. I'm probably going to throw out there, like, if you're doing this cool thing, how does that look to an outside observer, Because, of course, one thing with City of Mist is you always want to make your descriptions very cinematic, because we're all seeing the comic book panels open up or the movie shots. So, describe it to all of us, because we're your audience when you have the spotlight. So it would be one of those of, if you're using the tag, that's got to be in your description. It's like if you've ever played Fate. When you're using an aspect, you basically, because that's where the beauty of City of Mist is. It's half Power by the Apocalypse, it's half Fate system. So you've got the aspects as well as the game mechanics that partner together, in that they creates, because I'm using the be there for each other with the all-seeing eye investigations group tag. Because I'm using that, so I'm involving the players in my results. So it could be that, well, because I'm the scrub guy who looks like he's homeless, I am going to use be there for each other. So I have my buddy who's a clean-cut detective working with the cops, who happens to pop up on the scene at the time. And all he does is tip his hat to the cop and say, "Hey, buddy." And all of a sudden, the cop's like, "Oh, he's supposed to be here. Okay." So that way you're working in your logos or your mythos into how you're using it for the bonus. It's like if you have, let's see, Baku has claws, horns, and husks. That would probably not help him for any social interaction unless he's trying to scare the shit out of somebody. I mean, if you totally want to do the whole Lucifer face thing where you're turning the face on, that could totally be used, but it just means that you're doing that in the scene. Then you hope that you're being subtle, because what if you roll poorly? Guess what? Somebody else sees it, and a woman drops her glass and screams across the party. And now, even
or you're trying to seduce a goat, you never know.
So it just comes into, if you're using it, expect to explain how it's coming into play.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
And yes, the reset button works. If you click reset on there, it unchecks anything you checked. Super handy.
Really? That's really helpful.
Sorry, I'm looking at Baku's character sheet, so I have a generic one to look at.
So, sorry, right. Apart from populating character sheets, which I am doing very slowly because I am a bit of a...
So which question did you go with? What's your first question?
For which the
for your divination for Psychopomp.
Right. So a divination, essentially. So power tags. Obviously, you've got to answer the first one. What allows you to uncannily? No, I'm fine. Thanks. What allows you to uncannily know things you wouldn't normally know? And I've just the little tag I've put is the dead don't lie.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And then question G is: in what ways have your normal senses been enhanced by your mythos? And I was thinking like everyday interactions where my tag is every lie sounds like a bum note. So essentially, if I'm just talking to real people, if they lie, it's something about the music of their voice kind of thing. And then what new frontier of knowledge lies at the edge of your divination? And this is quite a long one. It says, long forgotten secrets hang like music in the air. You just got to know how to listen.
You were just totally giving me all the fishing hooks, aren't you?
Yeah, dead right, man. And then weakness tags. What happens when your divination overwhelms you? You see things no mortal was ever meant to see.
Because there's nothing worse than, coming out of your shower and you're seeing a murder scene unfold before you.
Yeah, awkward. Yeah. And then I've got a mythos of relic, which is the last trumpet, which is the angel Israfel's trumpet from the Day of Judgment. And my mystery is: am I the final custodian of the last trumpet? I.e., are we in the end of days, kind of thing? Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah. Power tags. What is the main useful feature or part of your relic? Playing it can summon lost souls, ghosts. Okay. And then, again, this is really tropey, and I'll explain it. What other feature, part, or item does your relic include? And I've put the tag supernaturally concealed. Now, I was thinking do you remember Highlander the series, where they end up just pulling swords out of their trench coats? It's like, just get in my car. Yeah, but you've got a sword in your trench coat. How don't you get it jammed down your foot or something? And it's like, no, because they've got this weird thing where they just pull it out. And I think the trumpet is probably the same. I just reach in my suit jacket and pull it out, and there it is.
It's on its trumpet 1-point sling that conveniently hides behind you and doesn't bother you when you sit down.
That's it. That's exactly it. Because who wants a trumpet in the ass? And then
nice.
Excuse me. Title of your sex tape. What is revealed to you through the use of your relic? And I have said music is the universal language. I can understand and communicate in any language.
Ooh, that's useful.
Yeah. And then the final one for that is, what happens when your relic goes into overdrive? And I've put, can call upon an army of angels.
Ooh, that could be used for good or evil pretty nicely.
And then weakness tags. What is the most troublesome shortcoming of your relic? It can attract unwanted attention. And that could be a whole pile of stuff.
It's like, excuse me, Mr. Jazzman.
Well, yeah, or, who knows, maybe you're doing something and certain creatures, horrible things don't like it, or who knows.
Or the classic one of the spirits realize that because of that, they can see that and touch that. And, hey, you.
Yeah. And I need another weakness, because that's the one, that the relic one is because you get a bonus one, don't you? Once you've worked them all out, you get a bonus one. So I've added, that's the one with more tags, if you like. So I need another weakness for that. So if anybody's got any ideas, I'm open to things. And the options are, because you can't choose the same question to answer, can you, for the weaknesses? Is that right?
Yeah. So I would say C or D would be the best two questions to pick for a weakness, but that's just me.
C or D. What can damage or destroy your relic? What has changed in you for the worse because of your relic? I'm open to ideas.
I mean,
So
you know from a GM's point of view what the C is, and that's just horrible. What's your kryptonite?
Yeah.
As all of a sudden you find out your weakness is
what was
the
the question
reed is
again?
completely destructible.
Yeah.
So what was the question again?
The question is, well, it's a weakness, so it's choose an answer. So the first one is it attracts unwanted attention, but then I have to choose another one, which either could be what can interfere with the powers of your relic, or what can damage or destroy your relic, or what has changed in you for the worse because of your relic.
Weakness for a hard luck case. I mean,
well, before you
if
used to
your
have laser.
mythos is tied towards guiding people to the afterlife, most ghost stories indicate that they have some sort of unfinished business that they
That's
want
right. Yeah.
settled before they move on. If you have a weakness where you kind of fall for the pity story and you are more inclined to do the job because they lament over their over what they're leaving behind,
So it kind of makes you gullible, if you like.
that's one way to look at it. But I mean, the thing is that if the dead don't lie, then you should be able to sniff out who's setting you up for something versus who truly is a hard luck case.
How would you phrase that? I like it. I really do like it. How would you phrase that in a kind of, the way that the tags are? So that would be a kind of what is changing you for the worse. Really,
Sucker for
that's
a good story.
Sucker for a good story. Like it. That's really cool. Well done, guys. See, I'm glad I spoke to you.
See, it's all about talking it out as a group.
Yeah, damn right it is.
And then finding a way to quantify.
Yeah. So that is D, isn't it? That's cool. That's good.
So real quick, let's give David a quick run up of what your characters are. What concepts you have already.
Sure. Aaron, did you want to start?
Sure, yeah. My character is called King Kamotswe. He is a jazz trumpeter who has inherited the last trumpet. So it's the trumpet that will be sounded at the end of days to bring the dead back to life. And he plays it, and he can see it summons ghosts, and essentially he can see and interact with them. And it has a bit of a mission to try and solve their mysteries, to ensure that they pass on to wherever they go. Resolving their unresolved issues is largely it.
Nice.
Yeah. So we get to hang out at some jazz clubs, and I can play some moody jazz here.
Hey, that's a great headquarters. Come on.
Yeah.
The booth,
right.
the booth on the second floor, or the booth in the back? That's the big question.
Yeah. Cool.
I, on the other hand, am portraying the son of immigrants, kind of lower income coming from a lower income family, who is tied to the mythos of the Jack of Fables, and the mythos came out early, but was misinterpreted as ADHD, and he had been on Ritalin for the longest time to keep Jack at bay. But now that he's completed community college with a liberal arts degree, is more or less a temp worker, he really can't afford that Ritalin subscription anymore. So Jack is starting to come out, and my character is kind of facing a duality of how to maintain a normal life and manage Jack, who doesn't seem to know who he really is and is fixated on trying to find a missing person named Jill that's really important to his life.
Cool. Do you know who Jill is?
Nope. I'm kind of leaving. I have no idea who Jill is. Maybe she's a relative. Maybe she's a love interest. Maybe she's a friend. Maybe she's an enemy. I just have this driving goal, and maybe like some other clue, like her eyes or her smile or something else. But that's all I got.
That face and voice that haunts your dreams.
Yeah. From a half forgotten dream, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Which is great GM fodder as well, because a bus passes and the car zooms by, distracting you, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you could have old 8mm film of you know that thing in Amelie, if where she's trying to trace that guy and he turns out to be the bloke who fixes the photograph machine in the end.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether the film, it's kind of like this mystery man all the way along, and you totally take it out of context. Yeah, there could be all kind of cool things like that.
Yeah, maybe the reason Jack is suffering from this amnesia, or maybe the reason that Jack is tied to this particular mortal is because of Jill.
Dun 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 dun.
Cool. So what actual mythos have you taken, Neil?
So I took my logos are my routine, which I call the hustle, because he's kind of a temp worker, courier. He's basically the odd jobs guy, where his weakness is that he's sorely underpaid. He's like the early Peter Parker, where he's a superhero and he's a photographer, but all at the same time, he's struggling to keep his apartment rent paid, and
his life's on the edge
from place to place, constantly missing important events.
He's failing at two professions.
Right. As my other logos is training, which I haven't quite figured out yet. And as for my mythos powers, I chose mobility, which is once again is tied to wanderlust.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically all movement powers, but the weakness is I have to be under stress for that to work. So I'm stuck with mundane travel as long as I'm not put into a situation involving danger. And then my expression is Faces of Jack, where I have ties to Jack Frost through Frosty Reception, Jack-o'-lantern through Fiery Temper, and Giant Killer if awesome. I'm facing off against someone bigger than me. But the weakness tag is that the right conditions have to be present. Like for Jack Frost to work, it has to be a cold weather has to be in play, or Fiery Temper, fire has to be present on scene. Giant Killer, my opponent has to be bigger than me.
All great options.
That's cool.
Can totally see the face off. I mean, some big bruiser, and you come walking up as the little guy.
But yeah, that's essentially my concept in my theme cards.
Groovy. That sounds good. And what about you, Fish? What's on your mind?
Well, been a long time since I've tinkered with this system, but as you guys were talking through some stuff, kind of brought back some stuff, but yeah, it's been a while. Got to kind of been looking up character sheets and kind of the process, but as far as a base concept of a character I was thinking of, or possibilities, was kind of thinking of a kind of young, aristocratic frat kid, with kind of a, I'm not sure I have, like I said, the dynamics of the game yet, remembering everything, but looking at kind of a tech / computer kind of affinity of some kind.
Okay, if it does help, we did pick the new neo-noir setting, so it's going to be like 80s-ish.
Oh, 80s tech is even better.
If that helps sway you in any direction. Because 80s tech could do all the stuff our tech could now, it's just we didn't know it could. Think of all the 80s TV shows. Your computer can do this. Really? Really? It can do that? If you say so, yes,
the
it can.
cell phone that has also a great brick. That would be a terrible way to go. Beaten by a cell phone.
Right? Brain sucked in.
Hey, I remember some of those old ones that were like military field phones, you know. Car battery with a
They were huge. Yeah, carried a suitcase so you can call somebody. Kind of a jockish, but he's a fencer, partier, but he's got kind of a social justice kind of Robin Hood, though he's rich aristocrat, but he takes and tends to run with kind of the lower class and helps people.
Almost like he'd go to a jazz club.
Awesome.
Exactly. So he tends to kind of not associate with the aristocratic crowd of his upbringing, but tends to find his way into the dark seer places, and tends to help some those that kind of need a little hand up and stuff.
You help the helpless, because that's who needs it.
Yep.
So it does look like both the guys are going with 50-50, so 2 logos and 2 mythos. So is there any powers that is there any myth that you're thinking that you're going to be telling its story?
That's why I was trying to think of how to play that in with like the tech stuff, some kind of, that kind of a mythical affinity with devices or something like that, or electricity, or and again, I'm looking for sheets and stuff for reference, but do I have a character sheet set up or anything yet? Or
you've got one. It's Jackroop Nug.
But you can change it.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Which one? Where?
It's
there.
There.
I see it.
So unlike the D&D character sheets, with this one on your character sheets, you've got the crew theme. So when you open it up, you'll see it's got the presets for rolling your actions. So you've got the crew theme, which we're still trying to peg down, decide what type of crew theme is going on. Then you've got your different character tags. So basically each one of those is going to be a thing. So it could be if your logos is going to be what you are day to day. That's the human behind the character. Your mythos is going to be what myth is trying to tell its story through you. What power is beamed into you that's trying to give out its information. So if you want to be good at fencing, you may want to look at the training logos, which is basically used for education, martial arts, jack of all trades, life experience, or research. That's a good one for like if you want to be a sword master. You've got routine, which is good for a job or occupation, a political position, role in an organization, a daily survival, criminal activity, or bumming around. Because that could be what people are thinking you're doing, slumming. Or even slumming could totally be routine. Your routine is you're in that side of town. And then, of course, for another logos, you have possessions, which is guns, lots of guns. A tool set, cash, savings, or assets, which basically would come down to you basically can throw money around like other people can throw superpowers. Useful personal effects or trinkets. So for your tech-savvy swordsman frat boy, who do you think, who fights for the good fight, by the way? I mean, I already have at least one idea for what mythos you might be channeling.
When David, sorry, when you said fencer, you actually meant sword fighter, not kind of like purveyor of stolen goods kind of thing.
Did we lose you?
Maybe.
I hope not.
Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting I have push to talk on it at the moment. So yeah, no, fencing as in the sword fencing.
Right.
So he's basically, plays around on the fencing team and that at the college because, that's what aristocratic families do. You don't do some of the other sports. You got,
Mm-hmm.
a little fancy sports that you participate in.
You have to do the hoity-toity. Because I'll throw it out there of what myth I think that could embody, and that totally could be Zorro. Just saying.
Yeah, true.
The fox. I mean, we totally are in the Southwest, so the fox totally, makes sense. The guy who fights for the underdog.
Right. That falls under. Okay, so that would fall under which? Under mythos?
So, you could pick your mythos, and then what type of power do you basically channel? Is it, you could go with Bastion, that it could be that when you have a sword in your hand, that you are unbeatable by weapons, that you're good at like parrying to protect yourself. You could have, not really divination. Let's flip through here. The expression, which is always, expression is like the multi-tool of powers. That's, you have some kind of protection, legendary strength, superior warrior prowess, overpowering presence.
I think you'd have some kind of devilish charm. Do you know what I mean? That's one of the things that I perhaps would associate with Zorro. The common person loves Zorro, don't they? Do you know what I mean? Because you're anti-establishment, and you know what I mean. Maybe you just kind of raise an eyebrow and charm your way into something, or I don't know. Just
and ladies swoon, and men want to be you.
Yeah, well, and some men as well.
That would be a good one for expression, the overpowering presence. You can shoot smolder. And then you have subversion, which could go with the secrecy and counter detection or manipulation.
So, kind of leaning, I think, like I said, kind of I don't know, for mythos, I was kind of leaning towards kind of that kind of tech divination, like he sights or feels things, or like gets insights when he's using or messing with electronics or technology.
Okay, so some kind of technology manipulator.
Yeah.
Okay,
so would that be like adaptation or?
Yeah, adaptation would probably be a big one because that's the mysterious, unpredictable force. Elemental manipulation of technology, which is its own element after all.
Yeah, so like weird things, he's able to like coax weird things out of like the electronics and things that he comes in contact with.
Who knew that beeper could send messages as well as receive messages? There's a jump in technology waiting to happen.
And possibly like weird like insights come to him periodically.
Okay, so what kind of myth or legend are you seeing for that tech?
I don't know. That's what I was trying to think of.
You could totally be a gremlin.
That's I could see that.
You could also be Archimedes. Intelligent, crafty, know how to get the most out of technology. Air quotes on the technology.
Right.
Are you looking more towards hard or soft technologies?
Well, so if we're 80s, I mean, computers are pretty limited at that point. So I guess it would be more
kind of public computers are limited at that point. Government systems, on the other hand.
Batman had his Cray computers by then.
Right. Yeah, but they took up like a warehouse, so.
And they didn't have you as behind the keyboard.
Right. Probably like technical gadgets and stuff, probably. So, I mean, kind of a gremlin kind of sounds like a fun idea.
Well,
because he's not fully understanding how he and realizes exactly what's going on with how he's able to do things with technology and stuff.
Well, gremlin, I mean, looking at it from the mythos, was a creature that broke down technology.
Which could totally make a great weakness. Since you're looking
at actually building technology, I don't know. Maybe Archimedes would be the better choice. Or, you can redefine it any way you want, of course. You could be Melvin, the guy that held the hot iron in place as Hephaestus slammed it into something.
Mm-hmm. You could even go with the Druids who made Thor's hammer. There's lots of crafters and engineers through myth and legend. Wayland Smith.
Yeah.
There's one even closer, in eons.
Who is that?
Wayland Smith. Basically, he's a European version of Hephaestus. As of course, in Europe, the myths kind of meld and bend and get updated as the case may go.
Right.
So the big question is, for your mythos, what is the mystery that you're trying to figure out for the mythos? Because when picking mythos, that's one thing you need to think about is what is the mystery, because you technically don't know what you're embodying. You might have, hints and thoughts, but until you've solved your mystery, you don't really know 100%. And the worst part is that's when you evolve and change that mythos to a logos.
Right. Well, I think that's where it'd be kind of like, he's searching for a better understanding to apply technology and improve technology to better people, and trying to figure out how his powers are deriving.
Mm-hmm. And I could totally see another logos being subversion, by the way. Secrecy, counter-detection, manipulation, using your technology to do it instead of doing it in person.
Right. Well, and like I said, obviously you gotta, the subversion would definitely be because I'm also trying to keep away from the family with, my seedier activities and stuff, because they would not approve.
Mm-hmm. So, did you want to start with the adaptation?
Sure.
Okay, so for adaptation, so it gives you, think about your mythos. In the legend, did your mythos possess any different powers? Was she able to shape a substance, element, or form, or concept? So you thinking of going with Gremlin?
No, maybe Archimedes. I think I'll do that.
Okay, Archimedes is a good one because lots of skills, good at many things. Okay,
right.
So how does your mythos adapt to circumstances? These are just questions to answer in your head for your character's, headcanon. So it has, how does your mythos adapt to the circumstances? It has a range / correction / set of what? Or it can control or shape what? Like I would think technology would be the answer to that one.
Right. I was going to say probably like change or shape technology to the need at the moment.
Or the other thing could be, going back to the first one, could be tools. You have exactly the right tool for the thing at the time, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. You have a collection of tools.
Yeah, that would work. So let's see, adaptation.
So for your first power tag, it's going to have you answer question A. So that is, what mythos power allows you to respond differently to every situation? So it basically gives very generic answers, like the example is, I cast a magic spell, or Lord of the Tempest, or shapeshifting. So it's something you want to pick that's very broad, but specific to your ability. So it could just be, I've got a gadget for that.
That's cool.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's cool. That's good. That's good.
I'm a good GM for playing Fate. I can always come up with a one-liner for powers.
No, that's good. Yeah. So where do I? So yeah, just getting used to the sheet here. So mythos is Archimedes, right?
Mm-hmm.
On my character card.
Yep.
All right. And then where am I putting that? Always have a gadget.
So on the purple card, where you've got adaptation. Yep. So you'll go ahead and down where it says power tag, click in the power tag where it's grayed out.
Oh, okay.
And then when you type it and hit enter, another power tag will pop up underneath it.
Okay. So what was it? Always have the right tool?
I've got just the tech for that, or I've got the gadget just for this situation. Okay, so there's basically like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more questions if you have your PDF on page 83, or I can list off all the questions and you can pick 2 more that you like. And you went silent again.
Yep, sorry. Is it one you have here? The PDF or
the one I sent to you?
Oh, did you? Sorry. Where did you send it?
Through Facebook.
Maybe the dog got it. I can hear a dog in the background.
That would be at my house. Apparently someone is...
Oh, is that your house?
Someone is here and the dog is telling the world that someone is here.
What kind of dog is it?
We have a German Shepherd and a Pit Bull Terrier.
Awesome. Like a nice German Shepherd. Lederhosen, all that stuff.
And of course, the German Shepherd will tell you she's in charge. Page 83. If it's on the PDF, it's probably page 84. So you'll see power tag questions, and there's basically B through J. And they're giving you different questions to answer as your power tag. So the answer like, what do your powers normally protect you from? So if your power did something to protect you from fire or cold. Personally, I think like I will be good, which is what strategy or combination of effects do you employ in battle?
Okay, so adaptation, theme improvements.
So you want to go back 2 pages if you see theme improvements. So you've already answered question
there we
A.
go. Power tag questions. Yep. Okay, so
So you want to pick
A,
2 more questions and answer them. And Neo, you got to bounce in like 25, right?
Yeah. Actually, yeah, 25.
What are you doing? Going to the airport?
Yeah, my sister was helping a friend out in San Francisco, and she's coming back today.
Okay, cool.
So I'm going to go fetch her from the airport and drive her back to her place. Probably take her out for lunch.
Are there still travel restrictions where you are, or not?
They've lifted some of the travel restrictions. You got to get the swab test the day before, and they'll do a temperature check again, and you got to wear your mask on throughout the flight. But I don't know, what kind of consequence they're enforcing if you don't follow the rules.
Sure, yeah.
Hopefully everyone is just behaving because,
Yeah.
Stay
we need this
healthy as
shit.
a group or don't.
Yeah. Just got to get back to normal.
Yeah, whatever level of that normal is going to be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And hopefully everyone is vaccinated.
Yep.
Yeah. I had whatever my second one just over a week ago. Yeah.
Nice.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's still so many not wanting to vaccinate.
Which means we'll just have more flare-ups when they catch it.
Is that a big thing where you are? I mean, the UK, people have been pretty good, to be honest. There aren't that, there's a tiny amount of people who are saying they won't have it,
I don't remember the numbers, but I think we're around like 60% they're thinking that have had their vaccination.
Yeah, right. I think something like that, yeah.
I mean, here in the U.S., it's a free vaccination. Why wouldn't you take it?
Shit, they're bribing people. I mean,
free beers.
Go get your vaccine. You can get free beers, or what can win a trip potentially. To it's like what the hell.
So when Neil's back, the next thing we'll go ahead and jump onto before he leaves is the crew themes and shared resources, which basically each one of you guys has a help and a hurt point with each other already that you can tag on.
Now, is that part of that's at the end of your mythos and logos, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Those things. Now, I didn't quite understand whether you had to choose one for each one, so each mythos and each logos, or you chose one overall.
Well, that's actually going to be on your character card. You'll see where it says crew and then help or hurt. You'll basically pick for each of your team that have you helped each other or hurt each other in the past. So basically you can say, is this Captain America with hurt with Iron Man, or is it Captain America with help with Bucky? So you get that you guys have backstory with each other. And
I see, yeah.
Basically what we do is we just go around the table taking turns, and you choose one person at random, and then basically read the question from one of your theme books. You can pick whichever one you want, and basically answer that question for help or hurt for that player. And the easiest way on the character sheet is to just put the letter for the question, and then just help or hurt. So, just to give you an idea, when it comes to crew relationships for someone with mobility, it's whether out of love, greed, power trip, or concern, one of them is trying to slow you down. constrict your movement or freedom of action, or tie you down. Why and how do they do so? Take a hurt point on them. And that's the person who's got mobility and constantly moving, like think Flash, you know. And it could totally be that, oh, Cole's slowing me down because he doesn't like the fact that I go off and do stuff real quick and come back and say I did it. Right. So basically, you know, because you're not, it's really just assumptions, you know. It could be that Cole tells them to double check their work since they do it in a quarter of the time, so that they feel that Cole doesn't trust them.
Where do you record that?
That'll be on your character card. They don't really give you space. You basically would want to put it like on your character's bio. But on the crew card, it has just enough space to put the character's name and if it's help or hurt.
Oh, I see. Sorry, yes. On the character card, I was looking on the crew theme, yes.
Yeah.
Right, I see. Yeah. So, whatever, third section down, crew, help or hurt, player character. Yeah.
And basically, you've got 4 to choose from, and you want to pick usually a different one or a different question. You can totally pick from the same, like, you want to pull all of yours from adaptation, you can. It's just that you may want to sprinkle it about so it's not all, because of this power, this is how I relate to everybody.
Yeah.
It could totally be because defining relationship. That's a logos. So, crew relationship. One of them once helped you save your relationship. So that person, like for, you know, Jack, it's Jill. Mm-hmm. And helps your relation. What were the circumstances? Did they help? And take a help point. So basically, it gives you free tags to work with each other.
Right.
Because basically, it's a nice mechanic that gives you backstory with the team. It shows that you're not just meeting today, and it shows that, you know, you've got some chutzpah to call on from each other.
Yeah. You don't just randomly meet in a tavern and then go off on an adventure to kill some orcs. Yeah.
Why are all you strange people talking to the same old bearded gray man in the bar and taking a job from him for a handful of coins?
So what? He's lost his spell book, you know? Oh, fantastic.
I subcontract to any old man that's brought a bunch of dwarves with him.
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely.
And of course, the typical, you know, most of you guys are going with Borderline, which is 2 mythos themes and 2 logos themes.
Yes. Yeah. Just so, even though I think you'll probably be able to see them. I didn't quite get through my logos. I've got help the restless dead, and my identity is I'm their last hope for true peace. And I've got what do you need most in order to carry out your mission? And my tag is I know what will make you happy. So I know not what needs to be achieved to make an individual at peace. Who is helping with your mission? Contacts in every neighborhood. And I've spelled neighborhood the English way.
Not that you're saying it's the correct way, but...
No, that's right, yeah. I'm very diplomatic. What is the root of your commitment to the task at hand? To solve my mentor's mystery. And what are the side effects are all burdens of pursuing your mission? And I neglect important relationships with the living. And then my other logos is routine, jazz club, the Ebony Lounge. And its identity is the greatest jazz club in the city. What do you do with your time? I'm a jazz club owner. What privileges come with the territory of what you do? Everyone of any importance comes to the Ebony Lounge.
That's going to be a great one.
Yeah. What specific activity do you engage in as part of your occupation? Mesmerizing musician. And the weakness tag of that, what are the mundane limits or the downsides of your routine? I'm a musician, not a businessman.
Which is an awesome weakness tag.
Yeah. So
it's like, what do you mean the tax man's here?
Yeah, that's right. We've run out of napkins. I mean, honestly, who orders the napkins?
Who's in charge of that? As they point their finger at you, boss.
Balls.
It's all fun and games until the mythos of Pan comes to your ebony lounge, because everyone comes to the lounge.
Yes.
Well, at least Pan and the Pied Piper don't have a playoff.
That's it.
Half the crowd's asleep, the other half is having a baklava?
Yeah. So yes, you're right. We should do the stuff for the crew before Neil's got a book. Yeah.
Okay. So Neil, we were talking about doing the crew relationships. So on your themes, go ahead and everybody write down each other's names. You can totally just use their real names instead of their character names if you want. It doesn't give you much room on your character card. It'll be the last card. Yeah. About halfway down, it says crew, hurt, and help.
Okay.
And we'll go ahead and have Aaron start. And for your themes, there's going to be the character relations. Each of your themes has like 3. And basically pick a character and tell us what relationship you have. And you may want to jot it down on notepads since the character sheet doesn't have room for it, or in your bio tab. And then basically put down whether it's a hurt point with one of your characters or a help point. And the funny thing is, you guys can totally have opposites, which it could be Neil has a help with Fish, but Fish has a hurt with Neil, because, relationships are complicated.
Yeah.
So are we on the front side or back side of the crew card?
It's on the front side.
Right. Okay. So when it comes to the actual
only when you level up.
So one of the questions in divination is you used your powers to learn a shocking secret about one of them.
Ooh.
Without their knowledge. If it made you feel closer to them, take a help point on them. If you were disgusted or horrified, or if you plan to use it against them, take a hurt point on them. So, do I have to say what that secret is, or
you can basically just say, if example, if you're picking Fish, that his old IT guy was a ghost and told you about his internet browser issues, and that you were either excited by that or you feared that. Now, you don't have to give out the secret. You just need to basically say that you know a secret. You can totally label it if you want, but you can just say that because of your power that's giving you that question, you uncovered a secret about him, and either you like him because of the secret, or you kind of turned off friendship-wise from him because of it.
I think I will say Fish, and I'll ask that question so I know something about him, and I will take a help.
Okay.
I'll put a help on. Okay.
Okay, perfect. So, David, since you got picked, you go next. Unless you need more time.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still looking through some of that real quick, trying to think.
In that case, Neil, you want to go next?
Okay.
This is totally what happens when I drop somebody into a game last minute, like 15 minutes after we started.
Right.
I think that maybe I have a help relationship with Aaron's character, as I'm kind of the way that I designed my character is he's definitely a lower income blue collar worker. So maybe he has me working there part time.
That's cool. That's really good.
And I mean, I took like for the hustle, I took a hardworking man, and under jack of all trades, I took technical troubleshooter. So maybe maybe my part-time job is being like the super or the repairman. If something at the shop goes wrong, I go in and I fix it. Could be like a clogged toilet or the burners on the kitchen stove don't work, or maybe there's a jam in the bar tap.
Okay, so for routine, it's got some quick suggestions. That one of them is a regular part of your routine. If your routine is to promote them, care for them, help them, work with them, there you can take a help point. So that sounds like what that is if you work for them, right?
Okay.
And then of course there's some nasty routine ones that do not sound like what you're describing. So basically you're saying that King is part of your regular routine?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I mean, the thing is that my routine is titled The Hustle.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm constantly taking whatever jobs I can in order to make a buck and stay afloat.
Because remember, the beauty of that is it counts for a hustle and the regular daily hustle that you have to do to keep your head above water.
Well, I'm assuming that it's a situation where Aaron's character is not my only source of income.
Mm-hmm.
So I do temp work, I do DoorDash. I'm like one of those one-man traveling fix-it shops.
Mm-hmm.
You need a window replaced. I go and do that. I do whatever it takes to make a buck.
And a guy who runs a jazz club needs shit fixed all the time.
Certainly, if you haven't got a clue how to run it.
I'm a musician, not a handyman. Fix it.
That's it. That sounds spot on.
Okay, so make sure you got the help point for him.
Right. Aaron, what did you name your character?
His name is King Tom Otsway. But actually, King probably isn't his actual name, but it's just what people call him.
They walk into the club and they're like, King, with the Buddy Jesus fingers.
That's it.
And you totally turn around and say, I don't know who the hell that is.
And let's see.
Now the question is, does somewhere in your club have a big throne-like chair where you hold court?
Oh my gosh.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Well, I've inherited it. I've inherited it, so do you know what I mean? It could be, yeah. Why not? That's a cool thing. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
It's the chair that nobody else sits in.
Yeah. Yeah, that is cool. Yeah.
As for David, I'm not quite sure what our relationship is.
Okay, so we'll put David on the spot now.
Yep, no, I'm good. So we got King, and who's the other character?
Rico.
Jack of Fables.
Rico. Okay. So Cole probably has kind of a helpful point, fascination with Rico being such a go-getter, hard worker, like do whatever he's got to get by, even though he's like, comes from the low income and all that. So there's that fascination, I would think, to help him because, things just come easy for me being, aristocratic frat kid. So he's like that token, hey, got to help this guy. He's part of the team too. So that's kind of cool.
So for adaptation, I've got a really good question that kind of follows that. So they do have the question in there that one of them is blown away by the vastness and diversity of your abilities. Ask them how it makes them feel. If it fascinates them, take a help point. If it confuses them and they're weirded out by it, take a hurt point. So which one of the two would you like to pick that you can show off your cool skills?
Yeah, probably a fascination. type deal.
No, I mean Rico or King.
Oh.
Rico, is it?
Yeah, I mean, my fascination or my thing would be kind of probably towards Rico being that hard worker type, but
Okay, so Rico, you were blown away by the vastness and diversity of his abilities. Does that fascinate you or weird you out?
I think that. Well, do I know that you're a rich kid?
Well, you've seen you guys have had history together, so you've seen what he can do. Like
yeah, playing
especially
with
the whole
electronics and things
Archimedes
like that.
thing.
I think that there would be an admiration.
Okay, so basically it's more of the fascination than the weirding out.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got Rico with a help point. And what other logos or mythos were you looking to get?
I need to reconnect. I'll be right back.
For who? For which?
For you, David.
Okay, so I need another mythos?
Well, you can do any combination of 1 and 3, 2 and 2. Like Neil and Aaron did 2 and 2. So there's 2 logos, which is your human day-to-day things. Like it could be something combat-based or equipment-based or location-based. And then your mythos, which is your superpower, basically.
Okay. Well, I guess under logos then would be, I guess, my fencing class.
Okay,
my fencing
so your
ability.
sword skills, which would totally be the training. If it's something that you spent time into, it definitely would be the training. Which for training, it gives you 3 options for excuse me, crew relationships. So the first one is one of the other 2 guys, which you probably want to aim one of these towards King since you already picked for Rico. So on your character sheet, put in Rico and a help point because he's jazzed by your technology stuff. And that'll be on your character card. So for your training, pick which one of these sounds good for King. One of them was there to support you while you trained, perhaps even mentored you. Take a help point. Or one of them looks down on your training and finds it morally questionable, inefficient, or distasteful. If it makes you want to impress them, take a help point. If it makes you want to punch them, take a hurt point. Or one of them helps you keep your act sharp. If it's because they're competing with you or threatening you, take a hurt point. Otherwise, take a help point. Do you friendlyly spar with King?
I don't know. Does he have like martial skills?
No, not really. I haven't. That's not really the kind of line I went down. I went more of a kind of social character, to be fair.
Just remember, he doesn't have to be skillful to make you look good.
True.
I mean, it could totally be the first one, which is one of them was there to support you while you trained. You know, when you're going through school, musician at the bar.
Sure, could be. That's fine. So King was there to support me through training.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, why not, man? Encourage you. Believe in yourself.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, so training is on page 135. And you want to put on your character card the Rico is a help and King is a help.
Yep, I'm looking at that. So, okay, that's down under crew player. Okay.
Yep. So here you guys are with a good, solid relationship with each other.
Yeah.
And let's see. So we're going to start with King here. Oh, you've got, you need something for you and Neil.
Okay, yeah, no problem. In in the mission in the mission logos questions, crew relationships. I think that one of them has aided you in your efforts and earned your greatest gratitude and respect. Take a help point on them. I think Neil Defo, I think, has that.
So Neo, being that hard-working guy with the good work ethic, was there for you.
Yeah, and I think he's reliable. Do you know what I mean? If I need something or I'm not sure about something that's outside my area of expertise, then he's a good. Strangely enough, he seems to be a bit of a jack of all trades, and I can't quite put my finger on it.
Okay, and since he is dependable, we have to let him run to the airport real quick. Which one of the crew themes did you guys want to pick? So the pros, vigilante investigations, dabblers in the mist, or conspiracy busters?
I quite like dabblers in the mist because it's kind of got lots of weird connotations. But I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I'm fine with that.
I'm okay with it.
So it's going to be more the weird instead of criminals and stuff like that. Because all the weird comes to you guys because, guy who sees ghosts, guy who builds things, and guy who goes around town looking for some woman named Jill.
Yeah, that sounds spot on.
And the for the crew themes, if you click the crew theme, it'll pop up for you. So you guys get that as your ability. So your power tags will be empathic connection because you guys got this weird thing going amongst yourselves. The guidance from a strange mystic, which means I'll be coming up with some strange mystic for you. Divine intervention. Sorry, what's that?
Is that a power tag? Guidance from a strange mystic.
Yep. If you pull up the power tags, you'll see it. You get all of that in your crew theme.
Oh, from the little thing you have, yeah.
Yeah, and then your shared weakness is going to be lost in another world.
Okay.
Why? Because all three of you are lost in another world because our jazz man's talking to ghosts, our tech guy's busy coming up with schematics in his head, and our other guy thought he heard someone say Jill to a woman she was serving drinks to. Yep. The obsession with Jill.
I gotta take off, guys.
Alrighty.
Okay.
All right.
Neil. Okay.
Quick question. Is this planned to be a once a month game?
I was expecting if you guys want to do bi-weekly, we can do bi-weekly, or we can do once a month. I was going to leave it up to you guys.
I'm kind of between jobs right now, and I'm doing whatever I can to make a little money. So once a month may work out better for me until my financial situation stabilizes.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm good. Whatever.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes my work makes me unavailable some days just through weirdness, but that's something I'll have to play near the time. So largely, I'm pretty easy. If whatever suits other people, really.
Okay, cool. I'm pretty much free bi-weekly on this cycle of Saturdays. So like today, the 10th of July, that type of thing. So I'll basically put out in the Facebook chat of, which one of the next two bi-weekly or a month from now dates are better for you guys.
Okay.
So that would be either the 10th or, let me pull up the calendar, the 24th. So I'll just post that in the Facebook chat.
And you're looking at a 4-hour session?
Probably 3 hours.
That's cool.
Session.
Can usually sneak an extra hour in if need be, but to figure plan 3 hours because thankfully, Powered by the Apocalypse lets things happen really fast.
Right.
It's not like D&D that you have to have a 4-hour session or you will not accomplish anything.
Yeah, and that's just one fight by the time you've done initiative.
4 hours, and you're able to get 2 encounters and 1 social interaction, and maybe some good role playing.
Exactly.
That's good to know.
So, sorry, just going back to the crew theme on the card then. So, what's the crew theme title?
Take care, guys.
All right, later.
Thanks,
Neil. Later.
Okay.
So,
cheers,
the crew theme title is Dabblers in the Mist.
That's what it's called. It's not a drop down or anything, is it?
No, unfortunately, it's not.
No.
If you look on the character sheets, there's one that's titled Team Themes at the very top.
Oh yeah, see it.
Yeah, and you can pull everything from there.
Unfortunately, you cannot copy paste. It's just a picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see if I've got a PDF of that you can take. I think I do. Let me see. No, the PDF is not copyable.
Do we decide on the identity then?
Well, the identity is pretty much, for the team crew themes, these are preset ones. I mean,
Okay.
you could totally do your own if you want to come up with, as a group, a shared one. It basically gives you the option to totally make up your own if you want to do as your own. So we can aim with Dabblers in the Mist, and then you guys can, tweak it as need be. But pretty much you'll all have the same. So that way it gives you guys access to a shared power together. Like Power Tag and Path of Connection. I sense that King is in trouble. I heard a sour note over the radio, and it just makes me feel that King is in trouble, so I'm going to tag that for getting my butt across town to King to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
All right.
That's cool.
And then I just have to decide what kind of guidance from a strange mystic are you all getting.
All right. That girl. No. And what about weakness?
For the weakness tag for the Dabblers in the Mist, it is Lost in Another World. So basically that comes up if I think you're distracted by whatever, your group is dealing with at the time. It could totally be that, Jack's getting distracted because he heard someone shout Jill. And he's like, what? Because his head's in two places at once. In the mist, which is supernatural, and in the real world. Because remember, that's a big thing in City of Mist, is you guys are basically in this mystical city. You're not the only rifts, which are people who are mythically powered by a myth or legend. So, you guys recognize fellow rifts when you see them and they've done something. It's like Highlander. Once you realize that they're in the area, you can recognize face to face. But if they haven't used any of their abilities yet, it's still kind of a mystery. Unless you use your power ability, which is, there's actually an ability just for that. When you do look through the mist on your character sheet, you'll see it. There's the if you click cinematic, it is, oh no, it's the core moves. It's the, do they not have it on there? I'm like, it should be on there.
No, I don't see it. I don't see it in the core moves. No, I don't see it. Is it it's not a special thing, is it?
No, it's, let me pull it up real quick. Oh, no wonder I'm seeing it. It's the player's actions I'm looking through. I'm like, why am I only seeing the GM actions?
So weakness is what? So that we're distracted by the mist?
Yeah, basically, let me pull it back up. For Dabblers in the Mist, it's Lost in Another World.
Our weakness. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because you're dealing with more of the mystical aspect of the mist, which totally means that there's a... you've both seen the Adjustment Bureau, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's basically, the mist has its own crew of people with funny hats that make sure normals don't wake up.
Right.
Okay, no, that's just the crew theme from the pre-gen. And unfortunately, there are no crew themes that you can just copy-paste, which will make life easier. They make you type it the hard way.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I type mine most out.
So is there any other mythos or logos you're looking at?
Well, yeah, I was trying to look at the list here. So I'm just trying to figure out the form still. So my mythos, I got Archimedes. So logos, what sword play? Do I put that anywhere else, or I just put like logos, rapier, or sword play?
So the training is you want to your identity. You want to come up with something that as a fencer, how would you describe this is my training I put into it? Are you a lifetime fencer? Are you I was gonna say there's the cheesy Jedi angle of better swordsman than a Jedi, or
were you training for some kind of sporting thing? Are you an Olympic fencer?
Right.
Fencing for the goal.
I was kind of thinking, yeah, see, I don't know that he takes it that serious. It's more like flashy swordplay. He good at it, and he kind of knows it, but doesn't. I mean, he's not competing, but he likes to show off his skill.
So it could be
kind of flashy swordplay.
Part-time Errol Flynn.
Sure.
Or only thing more dazzling than my smile is my swordplay.
That is awesome. You've done this before. It's not your first rodeo, is it?
It's a little wordy, but it's good.
Right.
And of course, when it comes to your power tag questions for that, there's some easy ones. Like, gee, what piece of equipment related to your training do you normally have access to? You may just have access to your sword.
We're going back to the Highlander thing now, aren't we? Yeah.
Right. How about Zoro has nothing on me?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's good.
Then the question is, what is your signature sign that you leave behind with your sword?
Yeah. Well, we'll work on that. Probably a C. All right. So logos. So Zoro has nothing on me. I got mythos of Archimedes.
Mm-hmm. So
under the adaptation, the theme title is that Archimedes in the theme title for adaptation?
So for adaptation, it's your mystery. Let me flip back over there. So for adaptation, you're going to have so you've already got your power tags, right? Yep. And based on your legend, think about the answer to one of the questions below. So we already figured out you have a collection of tools. So for your mystery, you want to come up with what is the mystery Archimedes is trying to solve that relates to you, the person trying to figure out why you have these abilities. If 6 episodes down the line, what is the question you're looking to answer? Like King has, what happened to my mentor? There's a mystery there. So there's a arc, a big arc.
Right. Okay. That one's
so for Archimedes,
interesting. Okay.
Think about it for the myth of Archimedes. I mean, there's totally that Icarus thing, right? There's totally the fact that he was a prisoner because of his genius. Someone tried to keep him locked up to keep making inventions and protect the kingdom. There could totally be some douchey CEO looking to keep you locked up in their think tank. Brings new meaning to think tank.
Right.
It totally is a giant fish tank that he wants to keep you locked up in. More inventions. It's Shark Tank, but the think tank version.
Yeah. Or okay. I have to think on that one.
Give it some ponder.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so on that card, so under where it says theme title, what goes there?
For that one, just put what you
On
call the
adaptation.
ability on adaptation. So it can be, a gadget for every situation. So that's the theme of your ability. So the mystery is the answer you're trying to get about your powers. So it could totally be who is hunting me for my knowledge, but the theme is I've got a gadget for every situation. Because it's basically you titling what your power is how can you, the modern day person, translate this genius that's in your brain that you weren't born with, just one day you woke up and had this power. Because that's the big thing with the mythos is most people are what they call sleepers that have no idea there's any mythical shit happening. They it's like Percy Jackson series. The mist literally blocks their ability to understand and quantify when they see powers. Somebody starts throwing lightning around, well, they see a capacitor or a transformer blow up and some power lines go swinging. Because the sleeper's completely incapable of acknowledging that the mythos exists. So this is how you list your power. So yeah, like a gadget for every situation. And then your mystery is what relates to your myth. So it could totally be of what is your final device, or where is that? Why do you keep making parachutes for some reason? Who keeps trying to hack your computer to steal your designs? And on the logos, it basically translates to here's the mundane everyday thing you do. So it's how do you identify that ability? Like on a character I made for Carrie, she was a soccer mom whose mythos was Sherlock Holmes. So this soccer mom had routine, which was she had to go pick up her kids every day and drop them off to soccer. So her identity with that one is, she's basically a 9 to 5, a 8 to 3 sleuth, 4 to 7 mom was her identity. So, because it comes down to if you embrace your identity, you give it attention, or do you let it fade by ignoring it? So, Peter Parker was a good example with Jack of on your character, you've got attention and fades. And you can basically crack your logos by ignoring your 9 to 5 too much. And if it cracks and breaks, you basically click flip card on the bottom, and it now turns to the opposite of what it was. So it basically means Peter Parker's been ignoring his college, so he becomes more mythos, which is embracing more of the spider. Which I always look at it that Peter Parker's totally the spider Anasazi, the weaver of stories. Because think about it, what's a picture than a story of 1,000 words? I mean, let's be honest. Peter Parker totally should have become a reporter, but that would have been too Superman.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. So mythos. So mythos is Archimedes, and then the sword play would also fall under the mythos. Zorro has nothing on me. Correct.
That would be your training. So that's you as a person. You did that as a person. So you learned and you did the sword play. You put the work in. So logos basically interprets as something that you, the person, did that's not magical, but it could be just as potent and powerful. Like with the character that we had for Kelly, that was basically a rift of Athena. She was all about the police training and the pistol as an item that she had. So those two things became really powerful for her character and able to do a lot compared to the magic items. Of course, her magic item was, hers was divination and bastion. Because, of course, the divination for her was the fact that she had special senses, which is she had lots of knowledge, magical source of knowledge. And the bastion was that she was basically the world's greatest warrior. Unbreakable body, will, and soul.
So logos would be like college frat kid, that's his daily identity.
So for the logos, let me read off the list for you. You've got defining event.
Yeah, I don't know if I.
Then you've got defining relationship, which is a really dangerous one. Then you have mission. So
Right.
if you're looking for philanthropy, that's totally mission. Philanthropy or good doing, revenge, sworn oath, or unbreakable promise, a job that must be done, an act of conscience, social or political cause, a personal goal, or an ongoing search, or an obsession.
Okay.
And then we have personality, which is just character traits and quirks, temperament, personal style, habits, social skills, lifestyle, attitude, ongoing act, and mental stability or lack thereof. And then for the gun bunnies out there, it's possessions, guns, lots of guns, outfitted vehicle, which, by the way, I used possessions for a friend of ours who made her a character who ran a bar that was basically the embodiment of Paul Bunyan. And she had possessions, which was her big blue old pickup truck called Babe.
Cool.
And then you have routine, which is role in an organization, a political position, a job or occupation, responsible over someone's care, time-consuming hobby, daily survival, bumming around, school, or criminal activity.
All right. Yeah, I found it in the link you sent. Finally, the logo stuff. So.
All right, cool.
All right, I'll have to look through some of it. I will work on it. Let's see.
Yeah, that is something you can potter away at in downtime.
Mm-hmm.
Until we start play, it's something you
got time to work on it.
Drop and change a little bit. Yeah. Are you guys in the same place? Are you in the same?
Me and David. Yep, he's actually from one of my gaming groups here in town, and we play in a lot of groups online now.
Yeah.
Tucson.
Yep.
Yeah, is that where you are?
Yep, Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah, Tucson, Arizona. It's like, oh, he needs a spot. Okay, well, sure. And some Star Wars groups, some D&D groups.
Wow. Where you get the time? I do a Wednesday D&D group, and that's about it for me at the moment. Although, to be fair, I'm involved in quite a lot of live action role playing, but of course that's shut down because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway,
one day life will get back to normal.
Yeah, maybe. Well, it's turning into a lovely evening here in the UK.
That's awesome. We are
nice. Where at are you?
I'm in a little village called Cookley, which is just outside a town called Kidderminster. So kind of the Midlands. We're just in between Birmingham and Worcester.
Okay. Nice.
Technically in Worcestershire. So probably about 15 miles from Birmingham, which is UK's kind of second biggest city.
Right.
So yeah, where I live is kind of, on the edge of the countryside. Kind of, it's all right. It's nice. Yeah.
We're having a mild day today at only 37 degrees Celsius.
Wow. 37 degrees? You're joking, man.
Nope. Tucson's 100 degrees right now Fahrenheit. And that's actually cool because a week ago we were 115.
And that's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you do it? I'd melt. God, that's terrible.
Stay indoors.
Well, it's a relatively dry heat.
Mm-hmm. It's no humidity, which is the only way to survive it.
Okay. Yeah.
Because last week we were at 46 degrees Celsius.
It's insane.
Where the asphalt turns into a liquid state.
Yeah, that is insane. God, how you do it, how you could, you know what I mean, how you can work and concentrate and stuff. I guess have your buildings got aircon and stuff like that? But
mm-hmm. See,
yeah.
David's the hero.
Yeah, but
he's been outside working in this heat.
Have you?
Yeah, last year during the peak of COVID, I work at the Veterans Hospital, and I was basically sitting outside 12 hours a day, outside of our emergency department. We had a tent set up, and that's where the COVID potential people went. And I basically had to sit outside and make sure doctors and nurses and stuff properly donned and doffed their protective equipment.
Wow. I hope they gave you a hat.
Yeah, it was like I said, 12 hours a day, 3 to 4 days a week, 100 at any given time it was running around 110 to 118.
Wow. Well, you guys are the real heroes.
And that was still cooler than when I was in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and it was 130. So,
nice. Okay, fair play to you. Fair play to you. Yeah, I don't know what the temperature here is at the moment. I don't know, 16, 17 degrees C, maybe. Very comfortable.
See, at this point with the heat, you can literally, because half of the room I'm in has windows, you can stick your arm out to the side of the house with windows and the side without windows and feel a temperature difference just by spreading your arms out.
Wow.
Henceforth, why the puppy dogs are not allowed outside right now.
Yeah, I bet.
Because they will be stupid and stay out in the fucking heat.
Yeah.
I mean, little black dog, and by little I mean like 85-pound dog, does not need to be out there cooking her head off. Okay, so yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I'll go ahead and share with the group on the Facebook chat, because I got David invited to the chat, of what we have, what we've picked, and if they can make it and get characters fleshed out, I'll work with them whenever they're free.
Okay,
and
cool.
We'll see.
That's the other two. Guntis and Rachel.
Yep. Yeah. Unfortunately, it looks like they haven't seen any of the posts, so I'm wondering if the time difference is killing them.
Mate, where do you know where they are?
I thought he was in.
So probably Eastern European.
East Coast. I thought he was in East Coast in the U.S., but I don't know where her location is.
Okay.
But we'll get as much wrapped up. I mean, if worst comes to worst, 3 people is good, 5 is better, 4 is perfect. Yeah. And we'll, when they can join us, pop in and give us their help and hurts on everybody else. And then I'll, start next time with the question of, on any given day, at this time and place, where would you be located?
Okay, well, that's been really helpful, really fantastic. Thank you so much, both.
No problem.
Great stuff. I've just now got to work out how to turn everything off.
And I totally got Kenny G music stuck in my head for King.
Kenny G? Kenny? What I will do on my thing, I'm going to post the list of stuff that I've been listening to. Oh, God, Kenny G, get in the seat.
I'm totally looking to see if Roll20 has any decent music.
Yeah, well, I'll post some suggestions. How about that?
Apparently, this is the Wendy's speakeasy sound, if you can hear it. That seems to be very loud.
I can't hear it.
I got my stuff turned off, I think.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you go to the jukebox, that's the little music note, and you pull it open and hit Manage Audio, there should be one track that pops up called 1920s Speakeasy Tabletop. And it's basically a loud speakeasy with a little music playing in the background.
Okay.
And it's really loud.
Hey, so you said 2 mythos. So should I have a second purple card?
Well, you can have any combination of. So it all depends on, are you more magical than mundane? So you can have 3 logos and a mythos, or you can have 2 and 2, or you can have 3 mythos and 1 logos. So that means you're basically tilting onto more magic than less human. So it basically just means you're ignoring your humanness.
Right. Well, I was kind of flipping through things, and was kind of maybe thinking like a relic, and the sword being like some kind of a mystical relic sword.
And remember, relics can be changed. So it could be that your relic, is something totally not a sword, but it's now a sword because that's how it's telling its story. So you can feel free to play with it. It doesn't have to be Excalibur. It could totally be something else.
No, yeah, but I was thinking maybe it's a family heirloom that got handed down, and it's kind of come from a long line of swords player in my aristocratic life, and so I got this mystical weapon.
It could totally be the modern interpretation of the tools of Archimedes.
Yeah.
I'm like Googling Archimedes really quick. I'm like, I know a lot of things related to him. It could totally be the ant in the string, His achievements include deriving the accurate approximation of pi.
Oh yeah, maybe that's what your symbol could be when you carve it in things and people. Pi.
There you go. Right.
Defining awesome. And investigating the spiral that now bears his name. Devising a system of using exponentiation as an expression of very large numbers. He founded hydrostasis and stasis. He explained the principle of the lever. You could totally have a sword named the lever. It's all about leverage.
Sure.
Let's see.
Archimedes screw.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, water screw.
The water screw that lets you bring up water by just twisting a handle. It's a great invention. Apparently, Archimedes then took to the streets naked, so excited by his discovery that he had forgotten to dress, crying out, "Eureka!" Greek for "I found it."
Archimedes claw of Archimedes.
Yeah, that's the one that would come out and crush a boat if it was at the dock. I mean, nobody's proven it yet, but he also created that reflector that used the sun's light to burn ships.
Like the big laser, heat ray or something, is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his heat ray.
Heat ray. Yeah. What was that in? Was that Jason and the Argonauts? Something like
that. Where did he supposedly? Because I know the claw he supposedly built for Agamemnon.
Oh, here we go. The Architona here.
Uh-huh.
A steam-powered cannon.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of hard to pull out of the back pocket.
Yeah, they say it was apparently in the city of Syracuse that he built his parabolic reflector. I'm just thinking ancient people and having 3 mirrors blasting sunlight on you, that would just suck. I'm sure they went home and exaggerated the ships burst into flame, but that would just suck.
Yeah, I don't see him much in the weapon way other than like large weapons.
Mm-hmm.
But do they have to be related, or?
If it's a mythos, yes, because basically your overall mythos is one myth. But you could totally
Okay.
take an item. The sword doesn't have to be magical. You can totally go with possession. Let me pull that up real quick. Training went too far. You could always have defining event. You saw someone die and it made you want to help the helpless. So possessions. So possession comes down to guns, lots of guns, an outfitted vehicle, a tool set, cash savings, trinkets. So for that, your identity could totally be the what specific possession means to you, a general belief about the possession's wealth, gear, etc. What do you intend to do with the possession? And basically, the identity you'd want to go with what's the name of the sword, if it's been in your family that long.
All
So
right.
the first thing for power tags would be, what is the most important thing in your possession? So it would totally be the sword itself,
Right.
The sword that belonged to my father, who was killed by the six-fingered man.
Right.
And then you could totally go with, because that's on page 127, you could totally go with the, what kind of stunts or moves do you typically do with your possessions? So it could totally be the whole sword, arrow flint stunts or swordsman stunts.
Okay.
They give the example of threatening
Cool.
monologue.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Okay, so I'll work with that. I'll work on a sword as a possession, and then so possession. So we can have 3 different logos then.
Yeah, if you want to go with 1 mythos and 3 logos, you can. It just means that your mystical side is very repressed. And as you play, basically, logos will eventually turn into mythos and mythos to logos if you use them. So it's one of those of if you give them attention or if you crack them.
Right.
Like, it's super scary when a player gets 4 mythos. They basically become an avatar, all-powerful thing for a little while until it burns out. Because the mist does not want any of you truly manifesting all of your abilities. Because the mist is there to put everything back to normal. And of course, the gray men that are basically the adjustment bureau show up and try to put shit down too. They're like, whoa, Midgard serpent running through town. We got to stop that shit.
Okay, so I'll probably do possession, mission, and I'll have to look at a 3rd one.
Okay.
So I'll probably do like a philanthropy kind of deal.
Totally your philanthropy personified of you're here to help the helpless.
Right. Even though the family don't like it.
Hey, it just means you're running a nonprofit, man.
Right.
All the proceeds to your patents go to this nonprofit instead of your family. Or better yet, you don't patent them.
Right. Or even just, even my family money, I don't, do stuff with like what they would like.
It's dirty money.
Just big corporate money.
Dirty money.
So now I just got to figure out what the 3rd area how I might work that.
Alrighty. Well, you can hit me up anytime. We can work it out if you need help.
Yep. I will play with it, and I'll let you know to take a look.
Alrighty, so we will say that's probably a good time to wrap it up.
That's good, man. For your reference, on my bio, I've just added a few, pointers for the music. If you do get a Spotify moment.
Oh, nice. Actually, good music too. Miles Davis.
Oh yeah, great stuff. Well, normally on a Saturday afternoon, if I'm free, BBC Radio 3, they do the jazz in the afternoon. So normally I would be balls deep in a martini now with an hour and a half of jazz. That's my normal Saturday routine if I'm free,
Very nice.
Good. Right. Okay. Well, thank you both.
That's awesome.
And
thank you. Thank you for having me.
Work something out over the messenger and then see when we get back together again, yeah?
Definitely.
Yep.
And I'll go ahead and post whether they're good with the 10th or the 24th, and I'll probably throw it out there as a poll, so that way it's less talking. Just click which one you like better.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Cheers. Thank you.
All right. Later.
Bye-bye.
Later, guys.